Ladies and gentlemen, good day to you all. I'm Johnny from Sear, responsible for product and application. I'm happy to be here with you today to delve into the fascinating world of intelligent material handling. Next, we will dive deeper into the core components that make these forklifts work, the challenges they face, and how they overcome them. We will discuss the importance of navigation and obstacle avoidance, the power of batteries and charging technology, and the future of load carrier recognition. Sear has developed a complete mobile robot hardware and software system with its controller products at the core. The main functional features as follow. The material handling and stacking. This stacker forklift can move, lift, lower, and stack goods in place like warehouses and logistics centers. Controller system. They come with a smart controller that can navigate precisely using natural environment, reflectors, QR codes, magnetic tapes, and more. Sensor technology. Equipped with sensors like LiDAR, cameras, ultrasonic sensors, and more to sense the surroundings and ensure safe operation. Dispatching system. The RDS system plans tasks and executes them without manual intervention. Remote monitoring. You can monitor and control the forklift's status and the task execution from a cloud platform. The common forklift types and models as picture shows. First is about the ordinary stacker forklift. It's a basic stacker forklift. Take the standard product from Sear as an example. Sear's product we call Slam Stack Truck 1500. It can carry a load of 1.5 tons. The premium Linda mode reaches stacking heights up to 3 meters. The second type is about the reach stacker forklift. It has a mechanism to move the forks forward, good for high rack picking. The load capacity of a common reach forklift is usually between 1 to 2 tons. The common reach distance is less than 0.6 meters. The maximum lifting height can go up to 11 meters. The third type of vehicles is about the three-way stacker forklift. It can rotate the forks 180 degrees and side shift without turning the vehicle. The load capacity for a common three-way forklift is generally between 1 to 2 tons. The three-way forklift can rotate up to 180 degrees to the left and right. The lifting height is usually between 5 to 6 meters, and it can go as high as 14 meters. So, here's the real vehicle Slam Stack Truck 1500. Let's check out the main components. The first and the most important is about the navigation laser, essential for mapping, localization, and obstacle avoidance. Underneath is the 3D obstacle camera, detects obstacle that 2D lasers cannot see. And this is the HMI display, shows detailed status, task information, and allows simple control. So, as you may see, this area is we call operation panel. Generally, it will integrate power switch to turn on and off the power of the whole machine, power on button, SRC controller LAN extension port for debugging, and switch the manual automatic mode. Of course, there's a lot of emergency stop buttons on this vehicle. emergency stop operation for emergency situation to stop the robot as fast as possible. This vehicle also equipped the ambient lights and the turn signals, used to show the different movement status and the mission status of the vehicle. And this is the charging plate for automatic charging use, in conjunction with automatic charging stations. On the rear of the vehicle, we also have equipped the obstacle avoidance laser used to detect obstacles of the certain height that 2D navigation laser cannot see. Anti-collision pumps. This is used for detects if the vehicle hits an obstacles. On the rear of the vehicle, we can see the pallet recognition camera, used to recognize pallets and other carriers to ensure accurate forklift docking. And for detecting the precise lifting height, we use the wire draw encoder inside. And this is a pallet in place switch for detecting whether the pallet is in place or not. On the fork tip, we can see the distance sensor or collision sensoring mechanism for fork tips. The distance sensor detects the distance of the fork tips from an obstacle. Alright then, next part we will look into the application scenarios. First is about the warehouse high rack storage. In large warehouses, stacker forklift can efficiently move goods and stack racks, reducing labor costs and operation time. The video shows the application of stackers trucks in the high rack areas of a warehouse center for stocking and unloading. Next, let's look into the scenario as picture. The scenario is that the dense racks with high repeatability in positioning features and the dynamic environment. The impact is that it will have an impact on the robot's mapping, building, and localization navigation, and will not be able to complete the localization effectively. So, the solution is that adding reflectors in the sense or for assisted positioning. The second is we recommend to use multi-beam radar for navigation. Intelligent forklift can perform cargo loading, unloading, handling, and other tasks in logistics centers, sorting centers, and other places to improve logistic efficiency. The video shows the application of forklift trucks in the logistic industry. The picture shows the sense scenarios about the radar visible range in a highly variable environment or a very empty environment, such as workshop or warehouse with a large span. The impact is that the mobile robot will not be able to navigate and localize. The features in the sense are far away from the robot and cannot be scanned by the short-range radar. So, the solutions is that first, increase the radar's installation height to ensure that the radar scanning areas has a low rate of the environmental change. For instance, the objects scanned are general walls, fixed pillars, and so on. Second is select a radar with a longer effective distance, such as 40 meters Pepla fuses R2000 or 150 meters multi-beam laser. The next picture shows the scenario about some shipments have wrapping film. The impact is that the normal 3D cameras cannot effectively recognize the pallet after wrapping the film. So the solution is that it's recommended to use the Percipio FM855 camera for recognition. The last picture shows the scenario about large quantity of black objects, such as black plastic pallets, black shelves, and so on. The impact is that the black color absorbs all the lights, causing the LiDAR and the cameras to not function perfectly. The solution is the handling objects, pallets covered with non-black color. Forklifts can automatically transport raw materials or finished products on production line, assisting with logistics and handling tasks in the production process. Video showing the application of forklift trucks or production line logistics and transportation. So, there are 4 pictures shows different scenarios on site. The first scenario is about some of the line-side equipment surfaces are spectacularly reflective. For instance, mirrors, stainless steel surfaces. And next is about the large, transparent or semi-transparent objects within the sense, such as glass, part of the processed glasses. The next about the sense has a large number of black objects that absorb all the light, such as black plastic pallets, black shelves, and so on. So, the impact is that because of the nature of the navigation laser, the robot is unable to navigate and localize well. The solution is that we recommend stick a non-transparent or non-black films on the surface as the references. The center of the reference should be at the same height as the navigation laser. Adding fixed objects in the operation areas as reference. The third is add reflectors in the sense to help with positioning. Alright, there are 2 pictures more about the scenarios we are facing. The first is about a super messy environment like with curtains all spread out and the waste everywhere. The second is about a featureless corridor environment or an environment with a lot of areas that look very similar, like a walking way between 2 buildings. Those impact that when deploying on-site, it can affect the robot's mapping and the navigation. So, the solution is we recommend add reflectors in the sense to help with positioning, and add fixed objects in the operation areas as references. We also recommend to use a navigation laser with a longer effective range. For forklift AMR generate, the vehicle will pass through some of the scenarios in the unloaded, loaded condition. And the running aisles can be divided into 2 categories. First is we call pass-through. AMR will only pass through this aisle, will not perform pick and place tasks on both sides of aisle. The second is about we call pick and place. The task will be performed on both sides of the aisle. Vehicle-wise length and stacker size are directly related to the width of the aisle. For pass-through aisle, there should be a minimum clearance of 20 centimeters between a single passenger and any objects, like machinery, walls, workbenches, or other objects that could affect the AMR's operation. That means the passenger wires need to be at least the wires of the vehicle plus 40 centimeters to ensure the AMR can pass through the passenger smoothly and quick. And it needs to be at least the wires of the vehicle plus 20 centimeters to allow the AMR forklift to pass through the passenger steadily, even if it's at a slower speed. If you are setting up a dual passenger channel, you will need twice the wires of the single passage to make sure the AMR forklift can get through the passenger smoothly and quickly. That's at least twice the vehicle's outer wires plus an extra 60 centimeters. Whether the passenger is considered a long corridor depends on the detection range of the lasers you are using. It's recommended to add some reference objects in the passage or use reflectors to help with positioning. For pick-and-place aisles, the extreme wires of a pick-and-place passenger is a straight stacking channel wires for forklift, which is a crucial measurement of whether there's enough space for the forklift to operate once it enters the working area. In simple terms, it's a distance between two obstacles when the forklift drives straight into the space between them and then turn 90 degrees to pick up the goods. So the picture shows the passenger scenario and how to calculate it. The length of the forks or the pallet need to be calculated based on the actual situation, as it varies with each type of vehicles and the specific site it used. You should choose the maximum value for your calculations. The turning radius for different brands of the forklift might not differ much on paper, but the actual performance can be quite different. This has a lot to do with how well the forklift handles overall. You should base this on the real-world turning performance. The safety clearance is generally 20 millimeters in front and back. Alright, next part we are looking at the requirements for placement of goods, shelves, and pallets, as the picture shows. For safety and stability on site, the cargo must be secure, placed in a fixed position on the carrier, like a pallet, to ensure there's no partial loads or tipping over, which could lead to safety hazard. This helps prevent accidents like cargo falling or getting damaged during the material handling process by the stacker forklift robot. And we recommended to secure overhanging cargo like with stretch wrapping film to make sure that in case of emergency braking, the cargo doesn't fall off or the vehicle doesn't tip over. The size and the tolerance range of the cargo carrier, like pallets or material cages, can refer to local standards or other relevant standards. Considering on-site safety and the transportation stability, the cargo carrier, like pallets or material cages, must have a stable structure, no obvious deformation. The surface of the cargo carrier, like pallets or material cargoes, must be kept clean and smooth, as deformation or damage could cause issues with sensor recognition, like fork tip sensor, and create obstacles. Manual handover position requirements If there's a situation where operator interaction with the AMR on site, like when they place goods or carrier like pallets or material cage on the ground for temporary storage, and then the AMR moves them to warehouse shelf or roller conveyor lines. It's recommended to mark the ground storage position or add devices like mechanical position limiter for carrier to help operators place the goods or carrier accurately within the area. This prevents the AMR from causing collisions or stretching on the goods. The picture shows how goods or carriers should be positioned within the cargo space. According to the customer's carrier, it can be divided into pallets, cage, and so on. The size, shape, color, materials of the pallet will affect the design of the forks and the selection of the identification model. Based on the support style of the pallet, they can be divided into 3 skids pallet, crawl space pallet, and 9-feet pallets. Depending on whether the bottom of the pallet is closed or not, they can be divided into open pallets and closed pallets, as shown in the picture. The crawl space pallets are not suitable for use on the ground with regular stacker forklift or pallet truck. It needs to use a counterbalance forklift for this. Okay, next part we will move into the core components of the forklift. First, we will discuss about the common drive selection. Points to note for steering drive selection. The steering motor encoder should have no less than 128 lines. The steering wheel must have a 0 position, and the accuracy of a 0 position directly affects navigation precision. There are 2 types of 0 position sensors. One is proximum switch installed on the large gear desk, and the other is an absolute value encoder built into the steering motor. The speed of the steering mechanism. Generally, the steering wheel's rotation speed should be no less than 80 degrees per second. This means you need to evaluate parameters such as the motor's related speed and the reducer's gear ratio, and even more. And next, the points to the note for traction drivers selection. In the industrial, for forklift conversations, the drivers can be chosen from Zappi and Curtis brands. The motor power is selected by the forklift factories or the steering gear factories based on the vehicle's weight, load, and the steering gearbox. Here's an example of traction motor power. If the vehicle load up to 1 to 1.2 tons, the power usually kept as 1 to 1.25 kilowatts. And the load, if up to the 2 tons, the power usually up to 1.3 kilowatts. If the load is up to 3 tons, the power is up to 2.2 kilowatts. Currently, our company has collaborated with Zappi suppliers to develop protocols and the drivers that can be used on the SRC controller with the signal generation Zappi products. Available in 24 volts and 48 volts models, depending on the power supplier system. So next part is about the lifting drive selection. The lifting control of the stacker's trucks is generally connected to the integrated DO pump control of the traction drive. The ZAPI solutions of hydraulic pump control is integrated with the traction controller and is available in 24 volts and 48 volts models, the same as the travel motors. Next part is about the navigation unit. The stacker forklift often use the 2D laser slam, 2D laser slam with reflectors, or 3D laser slam for positioning and navigation. If the project site has a large rate of environmental change or high environmental reputation, it's recommended to use 2D laser slam based on reflectors to improve positioning, stability, and accuracy. As shown in the picture, here are common scenarios and the navigation methods for forklift. For automatic warehouse and high-density rack, 2D laser slam with reflectors usually is recommended. For general manufacturing indoor production lines, 2D laser slam is good enough. For scenarios with outdoor working areas and a large open space where the featureless distance exceeds 15 meters, usually recommend 3D laser slam. So here are two recommended navigation lasers as a picture. The first is from Pallet. It belongs to single beam laser for indoor use, R2000. The scanning angle is up to 360 degrees, measuring range up to 25 meters. Angular resolution is up to 0.05 degrees. Next is about the multi-beam radar for outdoor use. It's from RoboSense Helios series. The FOV in horizontal is up to 360 degrees. In vertical is 30 degrees. Measuring range up to 150 meters. Angular resolution is up to 0.2 degrees. Next unit is about optical avoidance. Of course, we recommend the first type of laser is about single laser beam radar from 3 C214. The scanning angle is up to 270 degrees. The measuring range up to 25 meters. The angular resolution is about 0.33 degrees. Of course, the pros is that it has a large effective sensoring range, high precision, and it can be used as a navigation laser too. But the cons is about it can only detect a single plane. The next about the 3D radar from Levox Mid 360. The FOV in horizontal is up to 360 degrees. In vertical is from -7 degrees to 52 degrees. The measuring range up to 70 meters. The angular resolution is about 0.15 degrees. It also have its pros. It can offer 3D optical detections and high precision. But the field of view is limited and the cost a little bit higher. And next is about the distance sensor from Elco sensor. Usually, its applicable scenarios is that areas that optical avoidance lasers and cameras cannot cover, like the fork tips. It's compact and can accurately detect the distance of obstacles near the fork tips. But it has a blind spot with common sense detection range from 0.15 to 0.8 meters. So, next part we will discussing about batteries and the charge station. The SRC controller supports protocol adaptation to the vehicle's own batteries. For battery selection, the following parameters need to be considered. First is about the discharge rate. The battery's discharge rate, also known as the C rate, indicates how well the batteries can handle discharge. Based on the robot's power needs, the batteries must be able to work steadily under the robot's maximum load. The next about the cycle life. The cycle life of lithium batteries tells you how many charge-discharge cycles the battery can go through without significant loss in capacity. Choosing a battery with a high cycle life can reduce the frequency of replacement and lower long-term costs. Operation temperature. Depending on the robot's working environment, make sure the batteries can operate within a specific temperature range to ensure it maintains maximum performance in both cold and hot conditions. And consider designing heating or cooling structure accordingly. Next is about the voltage and the capacity. The battery's voltage and capacity determine the power and energy storage it can provide. Ensure these parameters match the robot's energy need to be met with vehicle's insurance requirements. Next, about the charging time. Depending on the robot's usage, using a battery with an appropriate charging time can be very important. A battery that supports faster charging can increase the robot's operation time and efficiency. Here is also the pictures shows Sears charge station. SRC 880 inside enable the automatic charging function. It can offer a communication interface and signals for AGV monitoring, like charging, standby, full charge, and error status, and exchange real-time data and work status with the host computer. Automatic adjust the charging power according to the battery status. Generally, a 3D camera is used to recognize the pallet, as the picture shows. We recommend the VSense NYX650. The FOV in horizontal is up to 75 degrees. In vertical is about 56 degrees. The scanning range is from 0.3 meters to 4.5 meters. It offers 3D recognition as a wide recognition range and it supports deep learning for recognition multiple layers of pallets with high precision. But it's easily affected by the environment. Some camera doesn't perform very well in sunlight and have poor recognition of black pallets. Next, about the HMI unit. The SRC controller supports connection to various HMI devices, like touch screens, speakers, light strip, emergency stop, and even Xbox joysticks to control the AMR, and even more. Alright, that's it for my presentation today. I hope this information I've shared has been valuable to you. I'm more than happy to make any questions you may have at this time. All right, let's check out what kind of questions in the comments. Here's one question is asking if we need to build a forklift, what support will you offer? Basically, Sear developed the products based on the SRC controller. So first step, we will evaluate the project or the application scenario you have. And we will help you to select the suitable vehicle bodies and doing some elevation, like the all kind of drivers that support already in our libraries or not. And besides, next phase we will try to get the communication protocol of the drivers or relevant devices, try to doing some adaptation works based on our SRC controller. Then everything get done, then the last phase is about to education, to teach your technical teams how to test and how to say, doing some commissioning work on site to make sure your AGV or AMR are working well on site. So if you have further questions or any interest, want to cooperate with us, just contact our sales guys, and we do have all kind of support to you directly. Okay, we got another questions about what are the 2D LiDAR that you recommended? Yeah, right now we using the 2D LiDARs for basically two using. First is the for navigation, and the second is about the optical avoidance. So for the navigation, we strongly recommend to use Pepla-Fuse R2000 for navigation. The quality is very stable, and the data we receive is quite good. Besides, we also recommend the NanoScan 3 from SICK. We also support this scanner for navigation and also the optical avoidance. Besides, we also recommend some very nice product from Chinese companies like free scanners. It's also very tiny design, save your rooms, and also with good quality for the data receiving. Okay, there's a further question about the have our uniform steering requirements that we currently do manually. I do manual steering motor controller for load of up to 2 tons. Yeah, unfortunately, right now from our side, we strongly recommend to use Zappi and Curtis, but depends on your requirements or your project or where you base. We can do some customized support for you, but of course it's related to some costs and R&D fee we may facing. So we can do some kind of customize for our customers, of course. Okay, which control SRC can control the new paths of AMR when encountering obstacles? Can you suggest BMS for battery which can be compliant for SRC? Okay. Yeah, I try to understand these questions. Is serial deliver basically 3 types of controller. Very standard and stronger type is SRC 2000, and based on that we also deliver SRC 3000. And besides that, we do have a cheaper one. The enterprise version is SRC 8880. So I have to say 3 type of our SRC controller are all support the how to say, we call the new path planning, right? We do support this kind of functions just related to your real application scenario. we will give you recommended to use or not. Since the past planning by the AMR is kind of will impact your efficiency of your AMR systems. So depends. Next question is, can you suggest BMS for battery which can comply with SRC? Right now, if you build your own AMR, the batteries from different supplier, so it's hard to say we recommend some brand of the batteries directly, but we do serve you to doing some adaptation work. You just get the communication protocol of the batteries sent to us, and our R&D guys were looking into that and make some adaptation works. Then works well. So. Okay, if you have further questions about your side, just leave the comments. I will reply it. All right then. If you have more questions later, so you can send us emails and get the support from us directly. So